It was a dry, wind-bitten afternoon in Westlake County, Texas, the kind where the sky turns into a wide sheet of brass and the dust hangs in the air like memory itself. I remember that day clearer than most. I had just climbed the rails of chute number 4, my boots scuffed, and my left knee already sore from a ride 2 weeks prior. They say you age out of bull riding in your 30s. I was 46. My name's Travis Dalton, and the bull waiting underneath me was called Reaper. Reaper wasn't your everyday angry bull. He was mean in a way that felt personal. Nearly a ton of raw muscle, pitch-black hide, and a reputation for goring riders right off their rope. They said he'd sent 6 men to the ER in just the last year. But I'd been riding bulls since before I could legally drink beer, and something about this particular challenge I'd felt like a line I had to cross. "You out of your damn mind, Travis?" That was Billy Harper shouting down at me from the catwalk. Billy had been my travel partner for a decade and seen me take more bruises than I care to admit. I didn't answer him right away. My hand was wrapped tight around the rope, glove already soaked in resin, breath steady. I looked down at Reaper's eyes, glassy, black, and not wild like some bulls. No, his eyes were focused, almost calm. And that's what scared me. The gate clanged open, and the world turned into a storm. Reaper didn't just buck, detonated. My spine snapped back and forth like a sapling in a thunderstorm, and every joint in my body screamed. I held on. For 3 seconds, then 4. I could feel him reading me, adjusting with each spin. Then, at 6.5 seconds, he did something I'd never seen before. He stopped dead still and, before I could register it, whipped his head sideways and caught me with his horn, right under the ribs. There was a loud crack that sounded like dry timber snapping, and the next thing I knew, I was flying backward like a rag doll into the dust. I hit the ground hard face first and the arena went silent. It's strange how loud silence can be when 50,000 people all stop breathing at the same time. They told me later that I didn't move, that I just lay there, blood pooling beneath me, 3 ribs shattered and a lung punctured. And Reaper, well, this is where the story turns. Instead of walking off or bucking off into a corner, that bull turned around, looked right at me. The rodeo clowns froze. Even Billy, who was halfway down the rail, didn't dare move. Reaper lowered his head, pawed the dirt, then charged. People screamed hell. I think some of them started praying out loud. But 3 feet from my body, he stopped. Just stopped. Towered over me, shoulders heaving, steam pouring from his nostrils. His gaze didn't wander. He just stood there like a statue made of fury, staring at my broken body as if he was guarding it. The medics couldn't get close. One tried banging a feed bucket. Reaper didn't budge. Billy grabbed a flag to distract him. Reaper didn't even blink. Every second counted, and I was bleeding out into the sand. That's when she walked in, Dr. Caroline Hale. I didn't know her then, but I owe her my life. She was the on-site medical director, no more than 5 feet tall and 100 pounds soaking wet, but she didn't flinch. She dropped her gear bag, raised both hands, and walked straight toward the bull. "Easy now, big guy," she said, voice calm but steady. "I'm just here to help him." Reaper's ears flicked. He turned his head toward her, eyes locked. Didn't move, didn't charge, just stared. And then, something no one could believe, he stepped back. Just 1 step. Just enough for her to kneel beside me. They say animals don't think like people. I say whoever believes that has never looked a bull in the eye and seen guilt. Caroline worked fast. Told them I had less than 20 minutes if they wanted to save my lung. Problem was, every time they tried to carry me to the ambulance, Reaper got anxious. Snorting, pawing, guarding. So they did something crazy. They loaded me into the ambulance. And Reaper followed using a livestock trailer right behind, all the way to St. Joseph's Hospital. Now picture this. There's a bull the size of a truck parked outside an ER entrance, refusing to eat, drink, or rest. Just staring at the hospital doors like a dog waiting for its owner to come home. Reporters showed up. Crowds gathered. Some called it a miracle, others said it was pure animal instinct. But the hospital staff started calling him the guardian. I woke up 3 days later, ribs aching, lungs full of tubes, and Mary, wife, crying at my bedside. The first thing I heard, I kid you not, was the sound of low rumbling outside the window. "What's that noise?" I croaked. Maria just smiled through tears. "That's Reaper," she said. "He's still here. He never left." It took a full hour of begging, threatening, and negotiating with hospital staff, but they finally wheeled me outside. And there he was, Reaper, standing tall, scarred from the pen walls, but quiet, watching. He saw me and rose to his feet, walked to the edge of the fence, and pressed his nose gently against my outstretched hand. I said, "I know you didn't mean it." My voice cracked. "You were doing your job, and I was doing mine." I reached into my pocket, had Maria sneak in a peppermint candy, like I used to give skittish colts, and I fed it to him. He took it gently, like he knew. Like he forgave me too. That photo, busted ribs and all, handing a peppermint to the bull that nearly killed Mutant Viral. But it wasn't about fame. It was about understanding. Forgiveness. A kind of bond that doesn't need words. I couldn't ride anymore after that. Doctors said I'd never take another hit like that again and walk away. But I didn't want to ride bulls anymore. I wanted to work with them. A year later, I opened Reaper's Rest just outside of town. A sanctuary for retired rodeo bulls. No more arenas. No more 8-second timers. Just open fields, proper care, and peace. Reaper was the first resident. Turns out, these animals aren't mindless brutes like people think. They've got quirks, emotions. They hold grudges, but they also remember kindness. I've seen bulls grieve when another passes. Seen them nuzzle kids who bring them apples. And every day, Reaper waits at the gate around 5 p.m., same as always. That's when I walk out with my cane, sit on the old bench, and give him his peppermint. We don't need to say much. He knows. I know. And I guess that's what I wanted to tell you. That sometimes, the ones who hurt us the most aren't villains. Sometimes they're just scared. Sometimes, they become the reason we change. So I've got to ask you, if a bull can show remorse, if an old cowboy can forgive, if two sworn enemies can become something like family, then what's stopping us? What would you have done in that arena? Let me know in the comments below. And if you believe second chances matter, hit like, share this story, and tell someone what Reaper and I taught you today. You never know. The biggest lesson might come from the most unexpected place.